Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we are continue with the faction overviews. In this episode we are dealing with the Anduin Vale. So those who are regulars on my YouTube channel knows that I am doing an Anduin Vale campaign as we speak, so I have experienced firsthand what you might experience if you choose to play this faction. So the Anduin Vale, starting right off, starts with 7 provinces, which is quite a lot. It's one of the highest number of provinces you can start with, and they are all placed among the Anduin River. So in the north you have Framsburg, Methelburg, Bjornshals, Vanholm, Leohold, Dwinburg, and your most southern province is Roscobel. So quite some land. Generals. You have a few customized generals. Start here with Gleowine, who comes with what they are called Aothead archers. Very good cavalry unit who has saved my ass a couple of times in my campaign, so I can say with honesty he is one of the best generals you have. Then we have Beorn of Grimbeorn, who comes with your regular bodyguard. The skin changes are really powerful general. We have Beorn here with a couple of units. Beorn also have the regular bodyguard. And then in Leohold we have Fatstrid, who is also custom with Greenwood Forester, your ranger-like archer unit. Here in Vanholm we have Volkret, who has store sheriffs. Yeah, store sheriffs. A pretty nice hobbit unit who can throw stones, so very useful over there. And come with a couple of units over here. We have Atagild, who has a regular bodyguard with some woodland units. And here down south we have Magor, who comes with your early tier, well, trash tier unit, the Valesman. So overall, these mostly some regular generals and a reasonable army. It's not too big. Don't expect that you will punch right through the goblins or Gundabad or Dol Guldur whatsoever, because you will have a hard time. Family tree. Well, I can be quick about that. You don't have one. As oh, you do. Whoa, I forgot. You have a family tree. You have Beorn as his son Grimbeorn, and also Gleowine is married into the family. So you do have a family tree. I thought you didn't have one. I thought you were Teutonic, but apparently you do have a family tree. So you have a family. So you have a family tree. It's small and it only contains 3 of your starting generals, but you don't have one. And continue to geographical area. So we are amongst the Anduin River. We have settlements on both sides, so we don't really have the protection of the river, which is not as great as you expect it to be. To our west we have the mountains, but we don't hold them. So if we are able to claim Goblin Town, we will be quite safe from the goblins for quite a while. But the north is open, the south is open. In the east we have Mirkwood Forest, which will be infested by Dol Guldur. So there is no real defensive areas there. I think the most of our lands will be grasslands or we do have some forest. So, but mostly grasslands, which can be useful if you want to know which terrain you're fighting on. Alright, then dealing with expansions. Well, the Anduin Vale is one of the few factions who have barely any rebel settlements to expand to, so you will have to deal with your enemies right away. We are in the second turn. Auto expansion has been completed. Erui is there for the taking, but most of the time either Lothlorien or Khazad-Dûm will be ahead of you, because you have other problems to deal with. So expansion can only be done by attacking your enemies. And that is a hard one, because you are threatened from all sides. To the north you have Gundabad, to the west you have the goblins who will come for you. And in the south and the east you have Dwarves who will come for you as well. So you are threatened all sides. And you will need to learn to deal with it. It is my experience that in version 5 the AI is way more passive than it has been in version 4. So don't expect any help from the elves nor the dwarves. In my campaign I have found out that the elves have not done any more than the auto expansion, and after that they have lost Ar-Adunaim. There is nothing else they have done. The dwarf is the same. They have the auto expansions and they have done nothing else. So it is really annoying to deal with 3 enemies while you don't have any support whatsoever. So you better prepare yourself for a difficult fight. Then dealing with custom settlements. Well, we have a few custom settlements ourselves. Beorn's Halls is custom. Roscobel is custom. Fanholm, I think, uses the Hobbit battle map, so it technically it isn't custom, but it kind of is. But besides that, there are a lot of custom settlements around here. Goblin Town is custom. We have Mount Gundabad, Burzakul, Dane's Halls, Onazonar. Pew. We have Duel. Battle maps. But don't worry about that. With culture and buildings, there are a few unique things for the Anduin Vale, but first off you have the Northman culture. You share that culture with Dale, and I think maybe Rohan and Dorwinion, I think. Bree, Dunland and Enid are middlemen, I think. So there are a few factions you share culture with, but they are not your enemies. So technically you don't have any advantage of it. Then dealing with unique buildings first. You have one unique building, the apiary, which will give you a nice boost to your economy. It has 2 tiers, the apiary and the apiary homestead, and can be built in places where you have a certain resource, and I am looking where it is as we speak, and it is this, the apiary. Everywhere you have that resource you can build these buildings, and they give a nice income boost. A flat income of 150 gold coins, increased trading goods, increased culture bonus, and increased population growth. It's really good. The second thing is even better. So try to build it as soon as you can, because they will boost your economy. because it works in different way. It has a flat income, it has the increased trading goods trade, which will also boost your trade income. So it works in different ways. You don't have any. Oh yes, you do have some other unique buildings, and that are the mountain defenses. What I didn't mention yet is that we are, for now, we are locked off in our highest tiers of cities and fortresses, and we have to unlock them. And we do that by a small script called the mountain defense. Basically, we need to build this building amongst the misty mountains to make a safe passage through the mountains. That's the story, at least. So by building these buildings, you will earn certain points, and if you reach, if I'm right, 100 points, you will unlock your high tier city and castles. So the watchtower gives 15, I think, and each upgrade gives another 5. I think large towns are sealed off, so the highest tier you can get is yes, is the keep, which provides 25 points. So if we do the quick math, you need 4 provinces, the highest tier, and then you have unlocked your high tier cities and castles. I think you can build them almost everywhere west of the Anduin. I know Framsburg can build them, Methelburg, Goblin Town, Fenholm. So those 4 at least. And I think also in Yellowstone you will be able to build them. And maybe Erui. So try to build them if you have the opportunity, because they also have a flat income bonus, just to give a small motivation to build them. Those are your special buildings. Then we will deal with the guilds. You have 2 guilds, the Horse Breeders Guild, which in the first tier gives nothing, only faster replenishment of your cavalry. And the second tier gives you Eothed Archers, which is the bodyguard of Glühwein. You also have the Archer Guild. First tier, again, nothing, only speeds of the replenishment of archers. Second tier gives you Woodman Trackers, and the third tier also Sylvan March Wardens, which is an Elven unit, a very strong Elven unit, which can be trained in Amun Lang if you take it. So besides the guild, you can only train it in Amun Lang. My advice is to build an archer guild in cities where you have a woodman camp, and the horse breeders guild in cities where you have an Eothed camp. And I will come to that right now, because the Anduin have kind of a unique recruitment system. Every city has the first tier of barracks, which is the muster ground. You can build them everywhere. Then for the second tier you have to make a choice. Which group of people do you want to have in your city? Basically, you have 3 choices: the Bjornings, the Woodman, or the Eothed. If you choose one barracks, you are excluded to the others. Each barracks has 2 tiers, and the first tier gives you kind of your early tier units, and the second gives you your mainstream to high tier units. So for a quick overview, the Bjornins give you mostly infantry. The Woodman gives you more archer focus, has a more archer focused barracks. and also some troops that can hide everywhere. So they are more the force type of troops. And the Eothith are the cavalry units. It were also the Eothith that came down from the Anduin Vale to help Gondor and were rewarded with the lands that and later became the kingdom of Rohan. So that's a nice touch on that. So you choose either Bjornings or Woodmen or Eothith. Once you have chosen a barracks, you are excluded from the others, so you can either destroy the barracks if you want to change it, yeah, or live with the choice you made. So unique barrack system. Keep in mind which barracks you want where, and that you have kind of a balance between them. My personal opinion is that on the borders of your kingdom you want Bjornings or Woodmen. Personally, I would think rather Bjornings. They have more defensive capabilities, and then behind your borders you want Eothith and Woodmen, so you can train them, send them out, take the settlements, and conquer the land. It does mean that there is a problem. There is a chance you need to switch barracks now and then. But I haven't experienced it yet. But I haven't expanded so much yet. So choices you need to make. Well, one last thing we need to deal with is the blacksmiths. You are human faction, you are not Numenorians, elves, or dwarves. So you have 3 tiers of blacksmith, because you are basic blacksmiths. Anything else? I don't think so. Then dealing with scripts. I don't think you have a specific script except for the mountain watch posts. So you need to deal to unlock your higher tier cities and castles. You need to deal with the mountain outposts. That's a small little script. Nice thing to touch that they have invented. I really like that idea. So good job to the devs. But besides that, the Anduin Vale is just straight straight faction. I'm looking that I didn't forget anything. No. The ring script is quite straightforward with all the good faction. If you find the ring, you bring it to Rivendell and you have the choice to destroy them or not. So that is the campaign side of the Anduin Vale. Personally, I have experienced that it is quite a hard campaign, because not so much for the campaign itself, but it's the passiveness of the AI that really that makes you really struggle. Because as long as the dwarves won't do anything nearby Witherboard or Ar-Adunaim, and the Woodland Realm won't do anything in Mirkwood, you are faced with enemies from both sides. You can quite easily deal with the goblins, take Goblin Town, and you will have peace from them for quite a long time. But it are the Snowhawks and Dol Guldur that will come after you turn after turn after turn, and without the elves and the dwarves, it is a really hard battle. It's a really hard campaign. So keep that in mind. Now, without further ado, I will start up the battle map, and I will see you there. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the battle map. And as we have a quick overview, we see that we are a pretty well-rounded faction, but do keep in mind that our units come from different barracks and that all what you see on the screen now will not be trainable in one city. So, without further ado, let's just dive in with our first unit, which are the Valesmen. The Valesmen are your trash tier unit. With a 2 attack, a 4 charge and a 6 defense, they are pretty poor. They can do shield trum, but they have poor morale response. They're slightly faster than other infantry units, but overall a not very good unit. If you watch the defense stats, we see that most of their defense, half of it, is in defense skill, which is only applied when they are in melee. So do keep in mind that they will be vulnerable to archer fire. Then going to our archer department, we have the Vale Archers, a 1 melee attack, a 3 missile attack and 2 charge, making them reasonable to good archers. They tend to perform really well in battles actually, but 2 defense is abysmal. They would it wouldn't matter if they have 2 defense or 0 defense. It's just abysmal. They have poor morale response. They're slightly faster. They have 20 missiles, 150 meter range, and a low accuracy, making them a typical early tier archer. Then on this tier, I also put the store sheriffs because they belong on this tier. They have a 2 melee attack, a 1 missile attack, a 2 charge and a 3 defense, making them in between the Valesmen and the Vale Archers as melee units, and they are arguably worse as archers. But they do have they do throw stones who are armor piercing, and that is why they can really rack up some kills. They have poor morale response. They're slightly slower than other units because they are hobbits, so the small legs. They have 50 missiles with a 60 meter range and an average accuracy, so they will hit quite a few things they aim for. And with 50 missiles each hobbit and around 177 hobbits in a battalion, it's around 900 stones they can throw. So they can deal some damage if they have the opportunity. Then going to your militia tier units, and we will start with the Bjornings on the infantry department, because that is what where they what their purpose is: hold the line and attack from the flanks. The infantry department, we start with the Bjorning Spearmen. With a 4 attack, a 4 charge and a 14 defense, they are a direct upgrade from the Valesmen. They can do a shield wall instead of a shield trum, which is somewhat more useful. I never understand the use of a shield trum. So shield wall tends to be more useful if you want to punch through an enemy line. But they have a downside that you can easily be surrounded and killed off. These guys have an average morale, an impetuous morale response, so they will deal with morale shocks really well. They have no movement speed bonuses, and they are spearmen, so they have bonuses against camels, walks and horses. And while these guys hold the line, they are helped by a more offensive unit, the Bjorning Axemen. With a 7 attack, which is armor piercing, a 6 charge bonus and a 7 defense, they will perform really well. They frighten nearby enemies. They are effective against armor, so they will perform even better against armored units. But do keep in mind that these guys are not very well armored. They don't have a shield, so they will suffer from that when fighting against archers. They have average morale, impetuous morale response, and a bonus against walks and elephants. So these 2 units come from your Bjorning barracks. Then continuing with Your Woodman units are the Woodman Warriors with a 6 attack, a 6 charge and a 9 defense. They are in between the two Bjorning units. They will be able to hold the line, but they will not kill as easily as the Axemen. They have average morale spawns. They are somewhat faster than other infantry units, and they can hide everywhere. So we see the real forest and hiding element in the Woodman units. They are on this tier supported by an archer unit. The Woodman Hunters with 3 melee attack, a 4 missile attack and a 4 charge and a total of 5 defense. They are a direct upgrade from your Vale Archers. They are a really good arch unit early tiers. They can hide everywhere. They have an average morale response. They are also 10% faster than other infantry units. They have 24 missiles, 170 meter range and an average accuracy. So you see right away that with the Bjorning units you have a really good morale response, and the Woodman units are just an average human troops. On this tier we are also supported with some cavalry, the Eothirth Horsemen, with a 6 melee attack, a 7 missile attack and a 7 charge and a total of 9 defense. They are decent early tier cavalry units. They're skilled against mounts with their javelins, because that is what they throw. They throw 4 javelins with a 65 meter range and an average accuracy. They have average morale response, and they are 10% faster than other cavalry units, which could be useful if you try to outrun enemy cavalry. In my opinion, they perform really well early tiers. I have heard stories that they perform better when they are done with the javelins than before as a melee cavalry, but I haven't had real experience with that. But sometimes I think I would agree, because sometimes they tend to charge not as easily when they're still having javelins than when they are done with the javelins. So these units are all early tier, the early tier units from your different barracks. Then we go into the second tier units of your barracks, and we will do that in the same order. So we start with the Bjornings, continue with the Woodmen, and end with the Eothirth. The first are the Bjorning Shield Bearers, a direct upgrade from your Bjorning Spearmen. With a 6 attack, a 5 defense, 5 charge and a 20 defense. These guys are way better than the Spearmen. They will hold the line, and they will hold the line till eternity. They're skilled against mounts like all spearmen. They have good morale, impetuous morale response, no movement bonuses, and a spears a bonus versus camels, wargs, horses and elephants. Just a good all-round unit. Then, unlike the name would say, we have a more offensive one, which are the Bjorning Defenders. With a 9 attack, a 5 charge and a 70 defense. They are good at defending, but they will be better at attacking the flanks while the shield bearers hold the line. I think both of them... no, these don't. So the Bjornings are adept in hiding in the woods. That means that they are not as good as in hiding as, for example, the Woodman units, but they can hide in forests. I don't think they can hide in long grass, and that is why they are still standing. So, adept in hiding in the woods, good morale, impetuous morale response, and for some reason a bonus against wargs. So while these guys hold the line, these guys attack from the flanks. Then going to the Woodman units, we have the Woodman Wardens. With an 8 melee attack, an 8 missile attack, a 7 charge bonus and a 14 defense, they are a direct upgrade from the warriors. These guys are armored with javelins, and when they are done with the javelins, they have swords. The javelins are armor piercing, so that is nice to see. With an 8 attack, they will kill some more pretty armored units. I like to see that. And they have a good morale, an average morale response. They are slightly faster than other units. They have 4 missiles with a 55 meter range and a bonus against camels, wargs, horses and elephants. And I think that counts only for the javelins. So again we see that this unit is in between the other Bjorning units if you look at their stats. So they're more offensive than the shield bearers, but less offensive than defenders. And I think they overall worse in their defense. Yes. But they are supported by another arch unit, the Woodman Trackers. And these guys can kill something. They have a 5 melee attack, a 6 missile attack, and a 3 charge bonus, which I think almost is it's double of the Vale Archers and a third better than the Woodman Hunters. And an 11 defense makes sure that they will stay alive when they are caught in melee. They have good morale, average morale response, 26 missiles, 180 meter range, and high accuracy, meaning that they will hit what they are aiming for. On this tier, we are also supported by 2 cavalry units. One being the Aeotheid Archers, and this is Gleowine's bodyguard. So let's take a look at what these men can do. They have a 6 melee attack, a 6 missile attack, and a 6 charge bonus, and a 30 defense. And they are, in comparison to the Aeotheid, what are the name? Horsemen. The Aeotheid Horsemen, they are an archer unit, meaning that they will have more ammunition. And I personally think that is a better thing than javelins. They're skilled against mounts. They're slightly faster than other cavalry units. They have 34 missiles, 130 meter range, and high accuracy. They have good morale response, just a decent horse archer, which will be really useful, in my opinion, against both Gundabad and Dûm. They are supported with the Aeotheid cavalry, a really strong cavalry unit, with a 7 attack, an 11 charge bonus, and a 70 defense, making them as good as mainstream Rohan units. I think they're in between the Aeotheid Lancers and the Rohan, maybe. I don't have the stats so right up here, but I think they are in between there. They have a good morale response, slightly faster than other cavalry, and they have a secondary attack which is lower than the primary attack. So as always I say, just imagine it that they charge in with their spears and then switch to the swords to get in melee, and the swords have a slightly lower attack than the spears. That is the way I think you should interpret it. So try to use these guys as charge units. Charge in, short melee, withdraw, charge again. As in my opinion, most cavalry should be used. Right, then we go to your elite tier units, and every barracks have one elite tier unit, and that is a more, there you see more the focus of these guys. Although yes, I'll have one. And we start with the infantry, the bear warriors. With an 11 attack, an 8 charge, and a 21 attack, these guys are beast. And like that is not enough. their attack is armor piercing. So they will really punch and all in the enemies. They inspire nearby troops. They are adept in hiding in the woods. They have a very good morale and a patched morale response. And with their big axes, they have a bonus against camels, walks, and elephants. So just a really good strike unit. And these guys are provided by the Bjornings. Then we turn to our left and then we see 2 units. And we start with the Greenwood Foresters, which is the bodyguard of Vestrit. This is the unit that can use your sharpened stakes, so nice to know that. They have a 7 melee attack, a 6 missile attack, 7 charge bonus, and a 30 defense, making him by far your best, well, probably your best archer unit. They have good morale response, 32 missiles, and 220 meters on the range. They are like a ranger kind of unit, I always say. Over 210 meters, I always classify them as ranger tier kind of unit. They might not be as good as true rangers, but they qualify as ranger type in my opinion. They have a very high accuracy and a bonus against horses, camels, and walks. And if I would look well, when they're done, they have a spear, making them really useful against cavalry. Did I forget anything? Yes, they can hide everywhere, and they are slightly faster than other infantry units. So this is your elite tier woodman unit. We have another tier. We have another unit over here, which I will go through as we speak, and those are the Sylvan March Warders. Remember, there are 2 ways to get access to the Sylvan March Wardens. One is in Amulang. When you take Amulang, you can train them if you have enough culture. From, I think it's called the ruins of Dol Guldur. So you don't need a specific military building to train them. And the other way is to get the highest tier of Archer Guild. But it's really unlikely you will get that one. So Amulang is your best option if you want these guys. And you do want them. Because they have a 10 melee attack, and 8 missile attack, a 5 charge bonus, and a 30 defense. Making them, well, a really good unit. They inspire nearby troop. They can hide everywhere. They have a very good morale response. 20% faster than other infantry units, because these guys are elves. So the Sylvan March Wardens are like elves that have been hiding in the woods. You reclaim Amulang, and they say, alright, we will follow you. They have 28 missiles, 225 meters on the range, and a very high accuracy. Do keep in mind that if an elven unit has a very high accuracy and a human unit have a very high accuracy, the elven unit will perform better overall. It's an hidden feature that certain races have better stats, even though it seems like they are equal. Especially with accuracy, it is that way. So the best accuracy, I think, is for the elves, the second for the Numenorians, and then come the human factions, and then the Orcish and the Dwarves. So the Sylvan March Wardens, really nice unit to have if you have the opportunity. Then we go into the last unit, and that is the Framsguard. The Framsguard comes from the Aotheat stables, and this is your elite tier cavalry with an 11 attack, an 8 charge, and a 21 defense. These guys are pretty tanky. They inspire nearby troops. They are skilled against other cavalry. They have very good morale response. Because they are all armored and tanky, they are a little bit slower than other cavalry, but it shouldn't matter too much because they are skilled against other horses. So should be alright. I don't think they are restricted, so these guys might be. No, they aren't. So, as far as I'm aware of, you have no troops that are restricted except for the store sheriffs, who only come from Vanholm and the Silver March Wardens, who, as I just explained, come from Amulang or the highest tier of each Archer Guild. I forgot to put these guys over here, because these are your bodyguard, the Skin Changers, a really strong bodyguard indeed. They have a 24 attack, an 8 charge and a 70 defense. But do note, the majority of the defense is in defense skill, so that means they are a little bit weaker against archers. They are adept in hiding in the woods, which is only useful if you have a general that is actually not the commanding general, else they will not hide. They're skilled against mounts, they are effective against armors, frighten nearby enemies, and cannot be staggered. That means that they sometimes when a unit is hit, they will you see an animation that it is not able to attack. If it's relentless, it will always be able to attack even when they are stabbed. They have an excellent morale, an impetuous morale response, but do note their morale is not locked, so they will be able to run away when you think it's a hopeless case. They're 20% faster than other infantry units, and they have a bonus against camels, wargs, horses and elephants with those big axes. So here we have it, the Anduin Vale. A really interesting faction in my opinion, but it can be pretty tricky to fight with, especially as I already mentioned a couple of times that the AI is tend to be pretty passive in version 5, so you tend to be alone against 3 enemies, and if you're not up against it, you will really struggle. So without further ado, I will hand everything over to the AI, and let us see which faction we will see next week. Get some artillery fire right away. We see a lot of blue. It is actually a really big giveaway. The horses here on the front. We have some blue. We do have some red in there, but those are not regular units. Majority of blue, a lot of horses. It is a pretty clear. And we have an error. Alright, that is unfortunately, but next week we will be featuring Dol Amrod. For some reason we had a crash, I'm not really sure what it is. So, I'm not starting it up again just to say goodbye to you all guys. But for me, I will say goodbye. And till next video, and enjoy your week.